Okay, it's Friday, and that means it's time to figure out what to do this weekend. Here with some suggestions for your weekend roundup is D Magazine's Peter Simic. Hi.
Hey.
Morning.
Thanks for having me.
You telling us what to do? TGIF. I'm excited.
I know.
What's the hot stuff to do this weekend?
Well, there's a few things in the arts and culture realm that are worth checking out.
Okay, cool.
It's the last weekend that Anything Goes, which is a musical out at the Winspear.
Oh, I love Anything Goes.
I know. And our theater critic Lindsay Wilson saw it. She loved it. She said it was just chock full of great tunes. But the other thing is the Design District. Every month or so, the Design District has a ton of art openings. So this is one of those weekends where there's just a lot going on. So there's a number of good galleries that have things.
Is it Saturday and Sunday?
Mostly Saturday, and
the galleries are just open, so we can roam any of them.
You can just kind of park down in the Design District and roam around. I mean, it's hit and miss down there. You know, there's some stuff that's okay, and there's some stuff that's pretty.
I feel like people can find a lot of hidden treasures down there that they wouldn't find at like a typical art store, typical furniture store. You know, there's a lot of exclusive stuff down there.
Yeah, and there's some really fun stuff. One gallery called Cole Drennan is doing a show about Dallas punk, which is something that really is interesting to me. Like, there's a lot of these kind of historical, cultural subgroups that kind of have a touchstone with what happened in the world, but in Dallas it had its own kind of micro sort of identity, and so they're showing all these old photos from like the early 80s and stuff of what happened down there. That's kind of fun to check out.
Cool.
There's an interesting show of pin-up art at Photographs Do Not Bend, and then Marty Walker is another good gallery that has an artist named Jay Shin. There's a few things that are worth checking out for sure.
That's awesome.
Okay, what else?
Movies. There's a few amazing movies opening this weekend.
Yeah, and it's Oscar weekend, so if you haven't seen all the movies, it'd be a great time too to head to the theater and play catch up
with everybody else. But there's actually two movies that are coming out that are just phenomenal. They're not in the Oscar kind of mix, but one is have you ever seen the Up series? They're this British documentary series that's been being made for over 50 years, and the idea was in 1956 or 57 this British filmmaker found about a dozen 7-year-olds, and every 7 years he's made another movie about them. So you kind of track.
So you follow like the life
now
of
they're
these.
56, and part of the whole thing is this kind of sociological look at, well, if you were born into this circumstance, some of them grew up in orphanages, some of them were well-to-do, and how does that shape, and how does their kind of how they thought about the world at 21 differ from 42, differ from 50? It's fascinating.
I love that. And what's
you'll
that
go
called?
And cry. It's called 56 Up, but it opens at the Magnolia.
At the Magnolia in West Village.
In the West Village.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. The other one that's great, and I haven't seen it yet. I'm very bummed, but it got a ton of buzz. A lot of people were surprised it wasn't in the Oscar mix. It's this movie called This Is Not a Film that opens at the Fort Worth Modern. It came out about a year ago at the Texas Theater, and now it got so much great year-end buzz that it's coming out at the Modern. The idea is it's an Iranian filmmaker who was censored in Iran, and so he was forbidden by the courts to make any movies. So he took his iPhone and kind of documented himself not making a movie. So that's why it's called This Is Not a Film. And then he took his SIM card or his card, he baked it into a cake, smuggled it out of the country, and now it's this phenomenal film. It's unbelievable. I can't wait to see it.
And that's opening in Fort Worth?
It's in the Fort Worth Modern, has a movie theater out there, and they always have amazing stuff.
How about music?
You know, the music is, there's what's going on this weekend. It's sort of my weak spot. You know, it's Chris Mosley. Every Thursday he puts up a post on Front Row, D Magazine's arts and entertainment site, that runs down a lot of different stuff going on. But,
now, for the family, is there anything going on for the family this weekend?
Good question. Yeah.
Kessler Park, I feel like, is always a great option.
Kessler Park,
they've got the food trucks, and it's supposed to be a beautiful weekend.
Yeah, and Clyde Warren will be gorgeous. Yeah, for sure.
I hope it's a beautiful weekend. It's been kind of rainy and cold.
I meant Clyde Warren, not Kessler Park. That's what I meant. Clyde Warren.
Last weekend I was out there, and it was madness. They were doing a Harlem
Shake video. Yes.
Which, by the way, my 17-year-old did it, and I need to look it up and show it to you. Because I knew
I'm telling you, these are going viral, viral.
Well, that's what's cool about the park is, you know, the city finally has this kind of place where it's like a natural place where everyone can go and do that kind of stuff. So you show up there to do something like run around with your kids.
It's like Dallas's version of Central Park, I feel like, a little bit.
Yeah,
I like visiting the food trucks. That's
great.
right
we
up my
like
alley.
food here.